Hi everyone, I am Muthuramu, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Civil Engineering at BSN College of Engineering and Technology at Tirunelveli. In this lecture video, we discuss about environmental risk management. So here some points we are discuss about in this video. Here introduction, types of environmental risk assessment process, risk management strategies, regulatory framework, tools and techniques used for the risk assessment. First of all, we know that what is environment. So environment is nothing but all the living organism and non-living organisms to the surrounding the areas, that is known as the environmental. The environmental, due to some impact, create our own activity or natural activity. That can be affect our environment. So we are to protect the environment, some feasible activity to the environment. So it is considered as a various factor and also the aspects of the including the physical, chemical and biological factors that affect the ecosystem and human health. During this physical and chemical and biological factors that affect the ecosystem to the human health, so the environmental, the total environmental will be affected, at same time the impacted. So we protect the environment to minimize this effect, and also we have protect the ecosystems in our the human health, that is called as the environmental. Then second one is risk. So what is the risk? The risk is nothing but the probability of the impact to the any undesirable happening to the environment. So we are measured the terms of probability and impact, which is uncertainty about the outcome of the any event or action that may be caused by the environment, or some changes or some damages to the environment, that is called as the risk. And third one is management, is nothing but to identifying the potential risk, assessing their likelihood and impact, and implementing the strategies to the mitigate or manage them. So first of all, we manage or we are control or take some remedial actions to control the risk. So we produce or to the assessing their likelihood and impact, the implementing the strategies to the mitigate or manage them. So that is one way to manage our risk. So what are the ways to reduce the risk? It may be considered any actions or any event as caused by the environment, so we can manage them. It also simply say the systematic process of identifying, assessing and controlling the risk posed to the environment due to human activities and natural events. So all the activities, our own activities and natural events that may arrive by in our environment. So it is mainly find the identifying the risk or identifying the hazards. What happened to the environment if you are doing any event or any work to the environment will be disturbed or somewhere the changes. So first of all, we are identifying the risk, then we are assessing the risk. What are the way we are assessing the risk and minimize or mitigate the risk? It is very useful to the protect our own environment. Then control mechanisms. So once if any event or any damaged structures we are creating the environment, we are controlling the risk, because we are not consider the risk. It is very dangerous to move on the next level of the environment. So it can be reduced or it can be affected by the natural ecosystems and also human activities. So we are protect our environment to the somewhere the three main points. First one is identifying, and second one assessing and controlling. It is very useful to protect the environment. It also something the importance of the environment. So protect the human health and the ecosystems, and also the ensures the compliance with the regulations. So how to the how to protect our human health and ecosystem. If we are doing any unwanted activities, we are involving the environment, so somewhere that difference will be occurred. So it can be direct effect to the living organisms or plantations or animals or ecosystems. So it be affected by the create some disease or something where, so it is affected by the human health and also the ecosystems. So it is also the formulations of any complaints with regulations. So we produce any some restrictions, we are doing any works or any risk or any hazards identify the particular environment. So to form the any rules and regulations to the environment, so which helps to protect our environment. The next one is types of environmental risk. There are two types of risk. One is natural hazards and second one is man-made risk. So first of all, we discuss about natural risk or natural hazards. So natural risk means it is nothing but the risks may be occurred by the naturals only without any man-made or anything involvement in human activities. So that is called as the natural risk. If something happened to the earthquake, it considers the earthquake, it formed the any earth surfaces caused by the movement of the tectonic plate, the earthquake will be formed. So the earthquake affect by the our environment. So that movement of the tectonic plates due to some volcanic plates to the earth surface, little bit the movement, so the surface will be or the earth will be suddenly shaking, so the environment will be caused. So from the earthquake, the impact to the it is affected by the infrastructure, ground rupture, landslides and tsunami. It is the from the sudden shaking of earthquakes, the following terms or following infrastructures or ground ruptures, landslides occurred by the earthquake. It is and also the long term effects include the soil degradation and changes in the land use. So we cannot use the any further uses or any cultivations. It cannot be used for the long term effects, which include the soil degradation and changes in the land use. That is earthquake, it made by the natural risk. Then second one is flood. Flood is nothing but the overflow of water onto the normally dry land after the heavy rainfall, snow melt or dam failure. So we can the flood involving the give some impact to the environment, that is damages, erosion, contaminate of water supplies and loss of habitat. So these are the impact to the environment. It is long-term effects can include the soil fertility, changes in increased risk of the waterborne disease from the flood. So the waterborne disease will be raised. So it is one of the long-term effects and also affect the soil fertility, changes in the risk of the waterborne disease. That causes made by the natural risk. And second one is man-made risk. The man-made risk is nothing but we are disturbing the environment, our own activity or our own profits. Something happened to the environment. So the environmental will be reflect some changes or some modifications. Somewhere the environment will be changed or affected by the natural resources. So we are released the pollution from the factories. One of the main factors for the pollutant from the factories and power plant and other industrial sources into the air, water and soil. So it is our own disturbing by the environment. So we are if you need any, if we need any benefit from these industries or factories, so we can occupy our own environment. So it will give some impact. So the air pollution can be lead to some climate changes. It may be the polluted from the water, which causes the water pollution, that causes the aquatic ecosystem damages and harm human health. From the waste we are inhale and we can our human health will be affected and create some disease. And also the soil pollution can affect the agriculture and biodiversity. From the industrial pollution, the soil automatically polluted, so we can cultivate, so it affect by the agricultural activities and biodiversity activities. And second one is deforestation. Deforestation is nothing but clearing of forest for agriculture. Urban development are lagging. Emissions and soil erosions can also contribute to the climate change and affect the local weather patterns. So it mostly it is affected by the any disturbance of water cycles, the emission of soils. So we are control this deforestation, and also we take some necessary to avoid the deforestation. So these are the types of environmental risk. Here give some example for risk and hazards. We consider the lion as a hazard, and in opposite person consider as a risk. So in first, from the left picture, the hazard is a person, but there is no change of the harm occurring. There is in front of the line, so the no persons present here, so the no change or the no harm occurring for this left picture. And second picture, right pictures, the risk present due to the some human are present in front of the line. Because someone is present, there is a no change, there is a change, that is the person will be attacked by the lion. So that is the risk. In first pictures, in front of the lion, here the person is no one is present in front of the lion, so the hazard is not present. But in the right pictures, the in front of line, the human will present in the in front of line, so the risk will be present. The risk affect the any change from the person, so he will be attacked by the lion. That is called as a risk. So these are the simple difference between the risk. Here there is no risk, here the risk is present, so it will be affected by the any persons or whatever. I will put for the simple pictures for we can understand the what is the risk, how to the risk will become, then how to overcome it, or how to risk will be affected by the in front of the any harmful effect to the persons or whatever. Then second, next one is risk assessment process. How we are assess the risk assessment, or and also manage the risk management, and also the manage the risk. So first one is hazard identifications, that will be define the scope or definitions what health problems are caused by the pollutant. First of all, we identify the hazards. What are the hazards materials, that hazards how affect the environment or living organisms or not, and also the aquatic animals, plantations. So first we identify the hazard identification that will be caused by the pollutant. And second one is dose response assessment. How the dose response assess what are the health problems at different exposure or different conditions the problems will be occurred. What we are do, the reflection of the problems will be, it may be vary based on the hazard. And the next one is risk characterization. The risk characterization is to find out the extract risk, the health problems in the exposed populations, and also the risk characterizations under by the exposure assessment. How much of the pollutant are people exposed to the during and a specific period, and how many people are exposed. If the causes affected by the environment under the particular time period, and also how many people are exposed. That means how many people are affected by the hazards, or how many people are affected by the particular cases arrived in the environment. So these are the small flowchart for the risk assessment process. The first one is identifying the hazards. So first of all, we determine the potential source of harm or adverse effects. The harm is nothing but very dangerous zone. The hazard, the earth surfaces something, any event or any substance to change the sources, that means natural sources, that is called as a harm. It adverse effect, it will give the negative effect to the environment. The hazards can be classified in the physical, chemical, biological or environmental. So it may be affected by, or it may be classified or typed by the hazards. If it means physical means the example for the machineries and chemical toxic, very toxic substances, and biological pyrogens are the environmental natural disasters. So how to identify the, or how to manage the, or produce the hazards identifications. So use some tools, the hazard identifications, it must be the used for the some tools to identify the hazards. It is hazards, whether it is hazards or not, using the following checklist and site inspection, historical data analysis and expert consultations. These are the two small tools to identify the hazard identification. It must be very useful to identify the hazards. It may be the protect the environment and avoid the harmful effects from the these industry, some industries, from the industries the harmful waste from waste will be discharged. So we can identify the some little bit the tools we can use by the using these tools we are identify the hazards. Then second one is risk evaluating. So it is one of the risk evaluating, the main part of this risk assessment. How we are evaluating the risk, assess the likelihood and the severity of harms resulting from the identified hazards. From the identified hazards we are enrolling the harm resulting from the previous data or something. The steps involved is analyzing the probability of adverse event occurring and the potential impact of the how. So it may be considered for the or easy way to evaluating the risk. Here some tools are used for the using the risk matrix, probabilities model and statistical analysis and scenario analysis. So it is a basic tools we are find the risk evaluation methods. The next, risk characterization, summarization of natural and magnitude of the risk identified and evaluated. We are find the above set the identifying hazards and evaluating risk, summarize the magnitude and nature of the risk identified and evaluated. This involves describing the risk in terms of both its likelihood and consequence, and integrating this finding to understand the overall risk profile. It may be variation from the before set the two methods like identifying the hazards and evaluating risk. It is the finalized of the risk characterization. Using some tools we are find the risk characterization. One is risk profiles and risk report and risk assessment. So these are the tools we are used for the identifying the risk characterization. Here some grading, give some grading for the risk. What we are done or what we are managed to the grading. What are the grading for the particular risk? Here three terms I am notified. One is low risk and medium and extreme or high risk. If the risk, it will be given for the solution particular events, it may be considered for the minor or negligible dangerous. It is maybe the variation from the 0 to 10 scale ratio we are providing for the low risk. It assesses the further action can be taken. If the risk is, once the risk is occurred, we are find the solution. It is also to assess the further action it can be the taken. So we are considers the low risk. It is providing the one or two scale ratios for this kind of risk, and also monitor the control. So the risk maintained by the low. If the risk cannot be eliminated completely, but the risk is available, but we cannot eliminated by the completely eliminated by the risk. So that is low risk. And second one is medium risk. The medium risk, it is or moderate dangerous. The action as soon as possible to implement the controls, that means long term or short term. So if something happened to the environment, the action will be taken. It will give the at the time of solutions we will give, or during some durations we take some durations, or something years or monthly or yearly. So it is considered the long and short term, so to reduce the risk as well as the reasonably practical, so it may be considered the 10 above the scale ratios will be produced. Then third one is extreme or risk, high risk. It is very dangerous zones, we cannot find the exact solutions what happened to the environment, that is the extreme. So we are find the any risk or any solutions, it will not be given to the particular incident or particular actions or events. So we are defined the extreme risk, high risk, or extreme or high risk. So the immediate action is required, stop is work, the stop work. It is also the identify the implemented controls are temporary or permanent to reduce the risk as low as reasonably practical. So these are the risk grading. Here attached for example matrix for the risk assessment in the food industries. Here the level will be given up to 0 to 5, and also the likelihood activities are given by the 1 to 5. Here the 5 differential are content given in the chart. First one is rare, unlikely, moderate, likely, and certain. So these are the activity and the particular years, less than the 2 years, at least one per year, at least 6 months, at least one month, at least one per week. So these are the activity. In left side says consequence for the negligible, minor, serious, major, fatality, fatalities as given there. The level will be denoted by the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The level will be for the x-axis 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. In first one is the rare, the event may be occurred in the exponential circumference less than the 2 years. The scale ratio is 1 provided. Here the negligible consequence for the activities, here no injuries or low financial losses, so it will be considered for the negligible or ignorable risk. So we can produce for the 0 at the rare, unlikely, moderate, likely and certain. So these parameters are given by the 0 level category, it means low level risk. Then second one is minor. It will give the first aid treatment for moderate financial loss. So it will be little bit change the activity, likelihood activity. The level is 1 is produced for the 2 years, and then unlikely the event occurred the sometime, it more takes some more time, so we produce the level of risk assessment level of 2. At least the 6 month that will be probably occur at the sometime, so we are crediting the level of credit the level is 3. The occur will most circumference the very closely, so we are produce the 4, and the level up on the last one is 5. So then serious, which means the medical treatment required, high financial loss, moderate environmental implementations, moderate loss of reputations, moderate business interpretation. So we are find the based on this risk, unlikely, moderate and likely certain. So we are provided the color. The color will be notified, and also the grading point will be notified. So these are the something simple example for the how we are forming the this is for the matrix method. Then how we are notifying the grading level. We are in previous slide we are discussed the grading, risk grading level. So here the extreme, high risk and medium and low. So as based on the risk grading, I will here put for some dangerous for the particular, either single death at the certainly some incident happen, we are not given the any solutions at the particular time, so we are produced the level of 50 or something, somewhere the danger. So these are the very dangerous for our human health and also the environment. So here the rating of risk and risk priority will be described in rating of risk. It is the neutral, that means the normal. Here the no risk, it is identified with the letters of n. So the cost treat the risk, it is the high compared to the negligible sequences. So that is we are rating the 0. Then 1 2 3, it is a low risk, may require the consideration any future changes to the work area or process can be fixed immediately. So it may be the low risk. So we are denoted the rating point the 1 2 3 at the letters for n. It will be the green color, something notified the color. Then 4 to 6, it is a moderate, it may the corrective actions through the planning and budgeting process and solve the risk. So we are it will be provided for the moderate. So the grading point 4 to 6. Then 8 to 12, it is a high, requires for immediate corrective action. We need the corrective action for the particular time durations. So it will be corrected, the action will be corrected or the action will be resolved. So we are give the priority risk for the high, the rating of 18 to 12 point scale ratios. Then 15 to 25 risk rating ratios, the risk priority, it is a extreme level. There is no action, immediate action required for the particular event. So the work process and the immediate corrective actions in it, but it will not be given by the particular actions. So it is the very dangerous, it will be move on to the dangerous. That is the we denoted as the letters E. It is the color denoted as the red color. Then risk management strategies. How in previous what is the discuss about the what is the environment, what is the risk, how to risk manage assessment process we see in about. Then how to manage the risk assessment strategies. It is a main happen for the present environment. So to avoid the unnecessary actions, we are creating the environment. So it mostly avoid for the environment. So it is a consider the risk assessment in the light of the social, economic and political needs and values. It decide the whether or not to reduce or eliminate the risk. So we can find the management process whether the risk is not or reduce or eliminate from the event of particular areas. So we can find the little bit of the political, social, economic and ecological considerations. It is also the risk management. In outer words, the private citizens, industries, manufacturing, non-profit enterprise groups, it is the information, opinion and lobbying from the particular areas. So risk management strategies for the oil and gas industries. It is one of the process. First one is prevention. How we are manage the risk by the prevention, by the action of preventions. So prevention is nothing but the actions to avoid the occurrence of a risk or hazard. Focus on the reducing the likelihood of the adverse event. If something happened to the environment, we can prevent or we are protect the environment. So what actions taken, it will be avoid for the particular risk or hazards. So that is prevention. In example, in the oil and gas industry, the prevention strategies may include implementing the strictly safety protocols, conducting the regular equipment maintenance and providing the employee training to minimize the risk of the oil spills. So from the industries, we can give the some instructions to the working peoples or working employees, and also we are protect the or maintenance the equipment and providing the training program for the to create the awareness for the particular work for the working employees, conducting the something. So it will be helps to our the particular persons to maintain the or prevent the to avoid the hazards or some risk. And second one is mitigation. It is nothing but to reduce the severity of or impact of a risk if it is occurs. It main aims to the consequence rather than the climate eliminate the risk. It is the risk is nothing but the to manage or eliminate or risk or reduce by the hazards or from the risk. So we can mitigate the measures designed by the risk. It is the eliminate for the mitigation process. It is also for a manufacturing plant mitigation strategy could include the installing containment systems to manage the potential chemical spills and setting up the emergency shutdown producers. So it is one of the example for the oil spill industries for the mitigation process. And second one is preparedness. It is nothing but planning and preparing for the potential risk. Before that we are planning the methodologies or how we are protect the environment or how we are manage the risk. So first of all we are planning and preparing the potential risk and the emergency to ensure the effective and efficient response. It involves the developing plans and training for the particular developing plans and the particular training. So it may be useful for the avoiding the over risk to the next level of the risk management strategies. It is example, it is relevant to the healthcare industries, might involve creating emergency response plans for the natural disasters, conducting the drills and maintaining the emergency supplies. So it may be well planned, so we avoid the risk and also control the risk for the particular areas. Next one is response and recovery. The actions will be happen during the after the risk event or to manage the immediate impact and facilitate the recovery. Focus on the managing the aftermath, the returning to the normal operations. First we are accept the response and give some recovery. What are the way to recover from the risk, to identify the risk and immediate the and manage the immediate impact and facilitate the recovery. So give some example in the construction industry. Response strategies might include the mobilization emergency response teams and coordinating with the local authorities in the event of a workplace accident. It is nothing but the recovery strategy could involve assessing the damage, restoring operations and conducting the investigations to prevent future incidents. These are the happening will be occur. So from these response and recovery from the activity, so we can reduce the these incidents. The next one is regularity framework. Then how we are frame the work by the our activity or identify or managing the or protecting the environment. So here some listed for the regulatory framework work. First one is the problem identification or hazard identifications. It must be divided into the hazard characterization and exposure assessment, interconnecting between the problem identifications and hazard identifications, the hazard characterization and exposure assessment. It will be reduced by the or given by the risk characterization. These four steps are the first part of the environmental risk assessment framework. Problem identification or problem statement, what we are done for the particular project, and also the identify the hazard characterization, expose the assessment risk characterization. It is the first part of the our framework. And second part of the framework is the risk communication, risk management and ecological monitoring and review. So these are the flowchart for the regulatory framework. Then we are discuss about one by one in upcoming slides. First one is problem identification. First we are identifying the problems and also we define the scope and purpose of the risk assessment. What we are need to find the purpose and explain the scope and applications of the particular projects. So it can be easily we can find the risk assessment for the method. Here some components are denoted by the first one is identifying the environmental systems or project under assessment. Second one is determine the scope, specific environmental risk interest, and third one is define the assessment boundaries like geographical, etc. So in problem identification, give the statement of the problems. So identify the scope and the purpose of the risk assessment, what we are done for the particular framework. So first we know the scope and the purpose of the risk assessment. Then second one is hazard identification. It is nothing but what causes adverse the environmental effects. So it may be the chemical, biological, physical and ecological hazards from the emission of sources, waste to produce natural events like earthquake, floods. It also to assess the simple way hazard identification, the tool it will be used for the hazard identification like checklist, matrix method, historical data and expert consultations. These are the tools we are identifying the hazard, what hazard to affect the environment. Then second one is exposure assessment. What are the way or how the problem or hazard will be exposure to the another. So how and what extent humans to the environment to the exposure to the hazard identifications. So we determine the how and what to extend humans and the environment are exposed to the hazard identifications. Here some exposure pathways are considered as the air, water, soil and biological data. So it is the exposure of the assessment. So we are consider these environmental resources and also the risk it will be affected to the here mentioned the air, water, soil and the biological. The exposure level it may be the concentration or time durations and frequencies. It is based on the time durations and the risk. Based on the risk level will be improved or reduced or decreased or eliminated by the risk based on the risk exposure assessment. And also the population and risk affected the communities and ecosystems. All the living organisms and community systems are affected by this exposure assessment. And also we identify the exposure assessment using some tools, monitoring and modeling and sampling of the previous data collections. So we are monitoring the exposure assessment. The next one is risk characterizations. It is the natural and magnitude of risk based on the hazard and exposure information. From the hazard and exposure information, we are find the or describe the natural and magnitude of the risk based on the risk and exposure informations. It varies from the likelihoods of occurrence, probability and hazard of occurrence. It may be the impacted our surrounding environment. It is a very harmful effect to the affect the environment or livelihood. So we are find the potential consequence and the effects. The range will be monitored and controlled. The risk and also the estimation of risk. The company hazard and exposure data to estimate the risk level. The risk level it may be tools used for the main method is risk matrix and it is based on the qualitative and quantitative analysis. So it is one of the best example for the risk characterization using the risk matrix. So we are identifying the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis for the particular risk characterization. Then risk evaluation. It is compared between the estimated risk against the risk criteria to determine the significance. So we are already find the risk evaluation for the risk characterization. It between the determine the significance at also regularity standards and risk this called acceptable level of the risk. So it is the major criteria to use the standard of these risk evaluations. It also the risk or acceptable or requirement management. It is simple way to assess the tools risk assessment report comparison with the benchmark. We are fit the any benchmark for the particular evaluations or previous data collections or previous incident already we are collected from the many indices or many data or case studies we are done by the particular area. So we fit the particular benchmark. It will be help to the difference the previous year and compared to the present years. So the risk will be management for the assessment report. It help to the finding the way or reduce the risk evaluation for the particular events. Then risk management. So we are find the risk and evaluation characterization something whatever. So finally we are the manage the risk. In futures we are control the risk, otherwise the risk will be high. So the environmental move on to the very dangerous zone. So we are protect the environment, so we are control the risk management. It develop the create some strategies to manage and mitigate the identified risk. So how we are manage and mitigate the identified risk for the below mentioned methods for the prevention, mitigation, response and recovery. So these are the steps involved in the risk management. So it helps to reduce the management or eliminate the management or control some parameters or control some mechanisms or tools used for the risk management. And also prevention is nothing but to actions to reduce the likelihood of the risk occurrence. So once the risk will be occurred, the actions will be the reduced based on the prevention method. Then mitigation is nothing but to less than the impact of the risk occur. It is also the one of the measurable tools used for the impact of risk occurs. The next one, the preparedness, the planning and planning and training to handle the potential risk. Once the risk will be occurred, so we handle the some experience, some planning or something we are learned to protect the our environment. Then response, the actions during the after risk events, we are the responsible. So what are the ways, what are the actions we are made by the control the risk management. So we can find the ways or actions to find the how we are manage the management from the previous data collections. Then also the recovery. If the recovery is nothing but a restoration of the remediation of effects. Once the happen will be by the risk, so we can find the restoration and remediation effects. It will be the helps for the particular recovery process. And then next one is communication and consultation. It is a very important for the communication process. It is mainly focused on the stakeholders, the risk finding, the management strategies, stakeholders, the local communities, regulatory agencies and the industry partners. So which involves the local communities. What are the risk made by the particular event? So we are find the given solutions. So that means we are find the any work in other ways. So we can find the some other places. So the communications will be shared by the through any channels or multimedias or any other ways from the collection from the feedbacks of the local communities, regulatory agents and industry partners. The collecting the data, it will be incorporated by the risk framework. Then methods, it is conducting the public meeting, report and consultations. If the risk once occur by the any places, we are conducting the any public meeting and the share the risk potentials. What are the ways to reduce the risk for the particular areas. So it is very useful control the risk management and also communicate the other people and create the awareness for the particular people or working employees, and it helps to the report and the consultation for the in future generations. Then the feedback collection from the public or industries, stakeholders, whatever. So we are collecting the feedback and incorporate with the stakeholder input into the risk management decision. Before the decision making, we are collecting the feedback for the necessary steps we are done by the regulatory framework. It may be incorporated by the decision management decisions for the regulatory framework. The last one is monitoring and review. The monitor and effectiveness of risk management measures and review of the risk assessment process. So it is very useful for this process. That means the regulatory framework will be very helpful. The monitoring our entire project and also the reduce any risk factor and identifying the risk factor, give some solutions or to actions, particular actions taken will be particular actions will be taken for to avoiding or reduce the risk. So it is monitoring is very important for the regulatory framework. The monitoring track risk indicators, compliance with the management measures, and also the reduce the risk indicators for the monitoring work. Then also review. It is a periodically assess the risk, update the strategies based on the new information. If any new information received from the any workplaces, so we can find the any work for updations of the particular area. So review the particular risk. So we are conclude the any conclusions made by the regulatory framework. It is useful for the particular work. Then it is also the tools monitoring the any programs, audit reviews, and also it is a monitoring programs, audit review. It must be the assessing, one of the assessing tools. So monitoring the program, what are the steps we are involved in the particular places or something. So audit reviews, conducting the any training programs for the particular persons, or any skill, give some more information about the risk for the particular work, or any seminars we are conducting for the particular framework activities, and to more involved in the public concentration and public hearing meeting. It will be very useful to assessing the monitoring the programs and the agents. It is also the give some agreement for the particular framework for the national and international level, and it conclude the it gives some the regulations for the form the some act to that act may be caused by the or reduced by the some incidents. So it may be considered for the any dangerous. So we are find the way. We are interconnecting between the agreements between the Paris agreement, and it also relationship between the national regulations, so that can be used for the regulatory framework. Here listed for some tools and techniques to control the risk management. Hazard, that means hazard and operability study. That means to identify the hazards techniques and evaluate the potential hazards and issue the process or system. It mainly focus on the examining the deviations from the design intent that could lead the hazard situations. These are the hazards operability studies based on the following three types. One is team based, second one is guide works, third one is process flow, and fourth one is applications. First one is team based. It involves the multidisciplinary team to ensure the diverse perspectives and expertise. So it is involved in that to find the group of work we are done by the identification of hazards. Then second one is use the guide word like no or more or less as well as. So it will be help to the identify the hazard, to evaluate the potential hazard by the systematic techniques. It is one of the tools. Then next one is process flow, to analyze each component of the process in detail, to identify the possible failure mode. So these hazard mainly used for the one of the assessing tools and techniques used for the risk management. It is the application for use for the chemical, paramedical and oil and gas industries to ensure the safety and operability of the hazard identifications. It is the one of the tools and techniques used for the hazard. Then second one is FEMA, that means failure modes and effective analysis. It is one of the productive approach used for the identifying the potential failure mode within a system or process, assess their effects and minimizing the work by the impact of the livelihood. It is notified by the three categories: systematic analysis and risk priority number and mitigation strategy. Systematic analysis is nothing but a breakdown analysis into the identify the possible failure mode. What are the way we identify the possible failure modes? So we are predict the failure mode. Then risk priority number, calculate the RPM based on the risk. That means we are providing the any number for the particular failure mode. Then strategists develop actions to address a high priority failure modes and reduce their risk. It is a mitigating strategies used for the RPA number. It is the mainly used for the manufacturing, automotive, aerospace and healthcare industry to enhance the reliability and safety application for the this mode. These tools are very useful to find assessing the tooling techniques. The third one is event tree analysis, ETA, a forward-looking technique used to analyze the potential consequence of initiating the event. It helps to understand how different scenario might unfold the following an initial event. Sequential analysis, probability estimation, scenario development. Sequential analysis modes progression of event, their potential outcomes. Probability estimation is nothing but estimate the likelihood of how we are different outcomes based on the event sequence. Then scenario, in the present scenario what we are done, so the assessment will be varied and understand their impact and likelihood. That is the scenario development. It is the application used for the nuclear power plant and the chemical facilities and the safety critical systems. Next one is fault tree analysis. It is the deductive techniques. Here is the forward technique for the one of the method is here the deductive techniques used for the analysis causes of system failures. In start within the undesirable event, top to event, and works backward to the identify the root causes. First one is top-down approach, logical gate, quantitative analysis. So top-down approach begin the top event to break it down into the contributing factors of basic events. Logic gates used for the gate, some gates are used for the AND OR gate or give some modeling to the relationship between the events and the failures. And the next quantitative analysis allows for the calculation of the probability of the top event based on the probabilities of the basic events. Then the applications mainly for the safety and reliability engineering, aerospace, automotive and manufacturing industries. It is for the fact tree analysis.